Everybody, welcome to another weekly card. This week you're actually going to get to hear me talk you through a card because I'm going to do a really simple Halloween card. So I started off with a piece of 8.5 by 11 craft cardstock from Stampin' Up. I cut it in half lengthwise at 4 1/4 and just folded it in half so I have my card. I'm going to use a piece of Halloween paper that I picked up at the dollar bin at Target. So there's no specific measurement. I just cut it so that it was a 3 by 4 square piece. So now that I have that adhered, I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of this Paper Studio felt ribbon that I have. It's in green. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down here. I'm just going to come around here to the back and just adhere it. See if my glue will even stick to it. My glue isn't sticking to it, so I'm going to have to get something else. I'm going to use some Beacon Adhesives Fabri-Tac. Really like this. It's really nice for the thicker ribbons and everything. It tacks it on there really well. I use this in my sewing projects as well. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry while I work on something else. I'm going to create the sentiment, and I have just a scrap piece of white paper. I'm going to use this Happy Halloween sentiment that also came from a dollar pack of stamps from Target. They're very flimsy, and I've never tried the stamps, so I hope it works. I don't know if it's going to work or not. They're very flimsy and not very sturdy, so hopefully it'll work out well. Little tip if you want to keep your acrylic stamps straight is to just throw them on your board or your work surface and then put your block on top of it, and when you throw it on the board it's going to keep it straight. So I'm going to ink that up with some Stays-On ink. And since it's a new stamp, I'm going to come up here on my craft sheet and just stamp it off a few times. I don't condition my stamps in any way. I figure if they're good acrylic stamps, you don't need to condition them. I probably should with a stamp like this because it was so inexpensive. But I do stamp them off a few times just to get the anything that may be left on it from the factory off. So let's try that. Ooh, that one didn't turn out too well. So wonderful thing is that scrap paper is, I have space to do another one. Stamp that again. Let's try moving up some, see if that helps. Alright, that's better. It's still probably not my favorite stamp. I won't use it too much, but it's nice to have. And always remember when you're using Stays-On ink to use Stays-On remover to get it off of your stamps right away. So I'm going to right away get the Stays-On remover on there. I'm also going to do it on my craft sheet, and it'll pull it off the craft sheet as well. And always with all Stays-On inks, you need to do that. And my craft sheet's pretty good. I don't necessarily have to do that immediately on my craft sheet, but with a stamp you want to do that as fast as possible. I'm just using a rag to clean it up. And you can see there's still a bit of a shadow on the stamp. Because it's a little bit of lower quality stamp, it's going to keep that shadow on it, but that's okay. That's no big deal. Move that to the side. And I'm debating about whether I want to add any color to that, and I think I probably do. So to add a bit of color, I'm going to use my dual brush pens. These are just real inexpensive ones that I picked up at my local craft store. So you can see they're well used. But they're dual brush pens, and what that means is on one side you have this real nice brush tip that you can use, and on the other side is a real thin tip that, to get really in there and clean everything up. So I'm going to use the brush tip because I tend to work a little bit easier with a brush tip. Alright, now that I have the Happy Halloween all filled in, I'm going to trim it up to size with my desktop paper trimmer here. And again, I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I'm not doing exact measurements. It's just kind of whatever seems to fit it and make it look the best. And I'm going to pull my paper down here, and I'm going to add one more little dot of Fabri-Tac here in the middle because it doesn't seem to want to stay very well. So one more small line of Fabri-Tac. There we go. Alright, and then I'm just going to put the Happy Halloween right there at the bottom. And a little tip for you, I'm using just three-dimensional adhesive that I happen to have on hand. But because I'm putting over this over some really thick ribbon, I'm going to put 3D adhesive at the bottom, and then I'm going to put just some multi-glue here at the top to hold it on the ribbon. But the 3D adhesive, oops, which I put on the wrong side, oops, the 3D adhesive will actually pop it up so it's even with the ribbon height. And I'm trying to use up some old three-dimensional adhesive that I have on hand, so I don't remember what brand this is or anything like that. And I struggle getting the backs off of these, as you all have seen in other videos. Let's see if these agree. There we go. Those actually weren't too bad. Normally they're a lot worse. And I'm just going to use some Scotch Quick Dry adhesive along the top and just put a small bead of glue up here at the top. Again, just glue that I'm trying to use up. A lot of times I'll buy stuff when it's in bulk, when it's on sale. And then my craft room, or my craft area, ends up with a whole bunch of one type of thing that I need to use up. So, right now it happens to be adhesives. So, put the little Happy Halloween down there at the bottom, and give it a few minutes to dry up there at the top. And, you know, I still think that needs something, and I don't quite know what it needs.